this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel, and we are commanded to love one another. This is a serious subject today, and it's entitled Why Black Americans Should Care About Niger. I'm not sure that you're actually attuned to what's going on in Africa, in the country of Niger, but it is a very critical situation for the people of Niger. And the reason Black Americans should care about Niger is because we should care about the people of Niger, because the people of Niger are in the same situation now that our ancestors were in back in the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries. The same players are in play, and the same thing is happening. And what is happening is the next stage, and hopefully we're beginning to see the final stage of the system that is responsible for enslaving our ancestors. It's the same system, the same people are involved, and they're up to the same old tricks. You've got the British, the French, the Americans, and the African sellouts. They're all in play right now, and they're ready to do the same thing to the people of Niger that they've been doing for the last 500 or 600 or 700 years, which is selling out their people, giving away their natural resources. The people end up being poor, and a few of the leaders end up with a pocket full of money. Africans have never been willing or strong enough to stand up. But in this day and time, the Africans are actually trying to stand up against these powers. Now, while we were enslaved, Africa was colonized. The difference is that our enslavement brought us out of Africa into the New World that we call now the United States of America. And their colonization, which was really slavery, but they're calling it colonization, the white folk came to their country. So that's the difference. They brought us here and they went to Africa. Africa is rich in natural and mineral resources. So what they did was carve up Africa for the Europeans. In 1882, 83, 84, they had what they call the Berlin Conference, and they carved up Africa, and everybody got a piece of Africa. This is a map of Africa, and all of these flags represent European flags. These are the European nations that colonized these parts of Africa. There are only 2 countries on this map that were not colonized. To the left, you see this little piece of gray. That's Liberia. That has its own tragic story. And then on the right, you see the big gray piece, and that's Ethiopia. Those are the 2 countries, and the only 2 countries in Africa that were not colonized. And where you see the big white and blue, and it's also red, that's France. France got the biggest piece of that pie, and they are trying to hold on to it for dear life. And in that big piece, you see Niger. This is the natural resource map of Africa, and right away you see oil, gold, diamonds, copper, uranium, cotton, petroleum and natural gas, coffee, tea, grains. This is why these white folk won't stay out of Africa. It not only has these things, it has a lot of this stuff. It has a lot, everything you need to keep an empire going, everything you need to keep these so-called first world countries going. Africa has it. The only problem is the Europeans want all of it. They don't want to have a sharing relationship with the Africans or a partnership. They want to come in and take over everything. They want all of it. And if the Africans say, hold up just a minute, it's our stuff, we ought to be benefiting from it, then they threaten military intervention like they're doing now. So the Nigerian, I'm going to call them Nigerians because I get them mixed up with Nigerians. The Nigerians removed the president that France had put over them, who is not even of their ethnicity. He's an Arab. And now they want to put him back in power because he's going to let them come in and have their way with the resources. But they're claiming they want to reinstate a democratically elected president, a democratic elected president that they put into power. So this is where we are now in Niger. In the past, every time the Africans have made any kind of noise, a kind of move of trying to break away from them, they've sent French troops in there. They already got French bases in Africa. So whenever the Africans make any kind of move like they want to be independent, they attack. But somewhere along the way, the Africans have gotten stronger. So two of these countries, Mali and Burkina Faso, have pulled away and kicked the French out and said, we want you out of our country. So now Niger is pulling away and France is really threatened because they really need that country to keep their country going. The United States has sent somebody over there. They keep trying to bully them. We're going to intervene. We're going to have some military intervention. We're going to send a white woman over there to put you Negroes in your place. So now they're trying to get a coalition of African nations to agree to go in and fight the Nigerians for their resources, claiming they're going to put a democratic leader back in power. And Nigeria would be the one because I do believe they are the biggest sellouts. But wait a minute. Hold up. Just a second. The Nigerian people are protesting that war. They're saying no, no, and hell no. We don't support our military going in and attacking our neighbor. People who haven't done anything to us. I hope that's true. I hope that's what the Nigerians are saying. But there is a coalition of nations who say that if Niger is invaded, that they are going to support them militarily. Burkina Faso, Mali, Algeria, and Russia. They're sending people into Niger. So it's going to be a big throwdown if they do it. I hope they won't do it because if Nigeria invades Niger, Nigeria is also going to be affected, and the whole of West Africa is going to be destabilized. Not my words, words of the people who study these things. Everybody is going to be affected by it. But guess who's not going to care? The French and the Western powers are not going to care because they don't care about the people of Africa. They never have. They care about the resources. So if they can go up there and create a chaotic situation where they have those countries in shambles and they get the resources, they'll be fine. But it would be a shame if any of those African nations were to go into Niger and fight their brethren over his resources, because that's all this is going to be about. These people do not care about democracy, and the fact that they've been able to sell that bullshit to the world for so long is what's amusing. They care about the resources. And as far as them trying to make people care about reinstating this Arab as president of that country, that is also laughable. This man and his wife are both Arabs. All they're going to do over time is bring more and more Arabs into their country. And then you've got North Africa all over again. And we have seen how black Africans are treated when they go into those North African countries that are ruled by Arabs. That is not a situation that anybody even needs to test. We already see what that will be. So I say, nip it in the bud. He's out. Do not let him back in. Black Americans should be concerned about Niger because the people of Niger are facing the same fate that our people faced before they were put on those slave ships. Africa has been defeated for hundreds of years, over and over and over again, because they won't stick together. When Black Americans were talking about Pan-Africanism, they basically flipped their noses at Black Americans and said they don't have time for that. But what has been happening is that the Western powers, the United States included, have been putting puppet governments in place. People who will do what they want them to do. And what they want to do is go into Africa and steal those natural resources. And they don't want to pay the people for it. They don't want to be partners with Africans. They want to be dictators. They want to take over all of the resources. And you look at the Middle East, you look at Saudi Arabia, Iran, United Arab Emirates, all of those countries where they found oil, all those people have in the Middle East is oil. But that oil has been able to raise the standard of living of the people living in those countries. But no matter what they find in Africa, whether it's uranium, whether it's gold, silver, oil, petroleum, natural gas, whatever they find, and it doesn't matter how much of it they find, the African people never benefit from it. Their standard of living is never raised. And a lot of that has to do with the leaders that they have. And the people don't know how to stand up to the leaders. So finally, you have to get leaders who will represent the people. And these leaders in Burkina Faso and Mali are talking about Pan-Africanism. Africans hadn't been talking about that before, but they're now talking about Pan-Africanism. They realize if they don't stick together, they're going to be living in the third, fourth, and fifth world forever because other people are going to be taking over their riches. These people, these Western supremacist people, they are insatiable. There's never enough. So there's never going to be a time when they say, okay, let's work together. Or let's share what you have. We'll pay you for what you have. That's never going to happen. And finally, maybe Africans are finally ready to see that. African people have probably been sold out more than any other group of people in the world. All over the world, black people are poor, and we have poor housing. We're discriminated against. We're assaulted. All of that is because the people that should have been looking out for us and protecting us, and I'm talking about us as a race of people now, those people sold us out. They sold us out into slavery, and they sold Africans out into colonization, which is slavery just the same. And it's time for it to stop. And it is going to take the young people of Africa to do it, because those old people are scared, they're selfish, and they really don't care enough about the people to be leaders. So the reason we should care about what's going on in Niger is because as Africa gets stronger, we'll get stronger. And as strange as it might seem, the incident that happened in Montgomery a few days ago and the incident that's happening in Niger, in Africa, these things are related. Because we are it's the same system that's doing it to all of us. And so I'm hoping that Africa will stand and that the African people will stand up to these sellouts. Because the sellouts in Africa are just as bad as the white people who are coming over there. Because they should force them, if they want the uranium, they should buy it, and they should buy it at the price that the Africans set. If they want oil, they should buy the oil at the price that the Africans set. But they don't want to do that, and that's what they're going to have to be forced to do. This bullying that they do all over the world really needs to stop, but it is not going to stop until people stand up to them. And this brings me to Nigeria, and I will close on this note. Nigeria was a serious slave trading area. It wasn't called Nigeria, but the area that is Nigeria was where a lot of slave trading went on. And for all of that slave trading and for all of that butt licking that they've done with the Western powers, Nigeria is the poorest country in the world, according to the World Health Organization. Nigerians are now protesting the invasion of Niger, which it is reported that their president was planning to do. I hope they hold his feet to the fire. And I hope the Nigerian military tells him, no, we are not going to do that. We are not going to invade our neighbor, a sovereign country, because somebody else wants to come in and take their resources. The African people are the only ones that can avert this disaster. And I hope they will speak, and I hope they will speak loudly. Okay, let me know what you think about the video. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video. And as always, have a great day.